If you're still running 5 or 6 different campaigns in Meta ads just to stay organized, you gotta stop. You only need 2. That's right, just 2 CBO campaigns to simplify your structure, optimize spend, and give Meta what it needs to do its job. And let me show you exactly how we structure this and how it works. And if you're new here, my name is Vincent, founder of Chipper, and I help e-com brands scale profitably and predictably using our identity hooking system, so you never have to guess which ad or creative works ever again. And this is the cleanest campaign structure you can use right now, especially if you're spending between 5,000 to 500K a month. It's efficient, scalable, and gives you full control over what is working and what is not working. And in 2025, Meta's algorithm is smart, and over-engineering your ad account structure just adds complexity and slows performance. And the best performing brands that we work with, they've trimmed the fat completely. And your entire account can run on these 2 campaigns. The first one is a creative testing campaign, and the second one is a retargeting campaign, all CBO. And that is it. We're not talking about tofu, mofu, or bofu funnels. We're not breaking it down into 15 different product-specific campaigns. We're using one to test what is working and one to monetize what you already paid to generate. And here's why the 2 campaign structure is powerful. It separates exploration from conversion, so no mixed signals. It lets your best creatives do the heavy lifting without being bogged down into noisy data. It makes reporting way simpler, so you know exactly where performance is coming from and which creative is working. And it gives them the Meta's algorithm clarity. And in 2025, clarity equals efficiency. It also protects your budget, and instead of spinning up new campaigns every 2 weeks, you build 2 solid foundations and feed them fresh creatives. And no, you don't need 6 campaigns just because you have 6 products. Most of our clients succeed on Meta with 1 or 2 high AOV bundles. And the rest, they can live in your email or SMS flows. So the first campaign's only job is to test creatives. And by doing that, you will test your targeting and your offer inside of your creatives. Creatives are about 90% of what drives sales or clicks on Meta. So you have to focus on making this as perfect as possible. So you just set them up like this. You have a objective, which is sales. Campaign type is CBO, and the ad sets are where you're putting your creatives in, and each ad set has a new creative badge, so an iteration, variation, or a whole new concept. And if you want to know more about that, I made a separate video as well. You can find that in the link down below. And every single ad set has 3 to 5 new creatives, so new concepts, hooks, format. And with this campaign, you will know exactly what is working and what is not working. You can see this at how much spend the ad sets are getting and what type of results you're getting from those ads. And the first ad set you make is always your main ad set. So if we take over a new client, we always start with an audit to see what they've done in the past, take their proven winners and plug them inside the main ad set. So I will show you now in the ad account specifically how this looks. So if you hop over to the ad account, this is a new client that we've worked with. And as you can see, they were also running bid caps. I'm gonna make a separate video out of that because we don't like bid caps, it never works. But as you can see here, this is the sales campaign that we launched in June. As you can see, it has a budget of $15 a day at the moment. It's a CBO, and here we have the audience segmentation report. I've also made a separate video about that, link is down below. It is super crucial to set this up, but as you can see, we have 4 different testing ads right now. One of them didn't get to spend, so we turned them off, but as you can see, this one, and this one, they are getting spent. And if we click on here, you can see these are all the winning ads that they've used in the past. The biggest thing that we see here right now is that, for example, this one, if we click on the last 30 days to show you, this one was getting a lot of spend in the beginning, but only got 2 purchases and wasn't profitable. So we turned it off because it was getting spent and it doesn't make sense, right? Because they're using bid caps, I'll just touch it on briefly. The reason why that we're not really knowing what ad works is because they're using bid caps, because it limits performance, right? But so we plug them all inside of here, and then every single ad set is basically testing what works and what doesn't work. So for this one, for example, it is 5 different ads, the same layout, same visual, same everything, but the headline is different, right? And then we took the same image and we made it pain driven, so we can see what drives people more. Is it pain in this case, or is it more the benefit? In this case, it's pain. And then the other stuff is just like UGC with voiceovers that we're currently testing to see what is working. And the second campaign is your retargeting campaign. But before you set this up, you want to make sure that you've set up your audience segmentation. I touched upon this briefly a couple of seconds ago, but if you don't know how to make this, I made a separate video that I will link down below, because this step is super crucial to make a good retargeting campaign. And this campaign basically captures everyone who's already been in your funnel. So website visitors, cart abandoners, product users, social engagers. We're basically monetizing what we already paid for. And so to set this up, it's basically an objective again with sales, CBO, and your ad set is retargeting audiences. So for example, website visitors of the last 30 or 90 days, engaged users, and add to carts or initiate checkouts, and exclude people who haven't purchased. For the ads, you will use creatives that work, but you will be adding urgency, social proof, and reviews. And if you want to get more granular, you can split this up into different engagement windows from 7-day to 30-day to 90 days. But honestly, one campaign structure is just enough, certainly if you're starting out. And retargeting is still efficient, but it's not scalable. And that is why we limit it to one CBO campaign to keep it lean, let Meta optimize across all the segments. So to make a retargeting campaign, you basically click on the green button, create. You click here on sales. You do manual sales campaign. We don't use advantage shopping campaign. Why? Because that way you still have a lot of control over everything you're doing. With advantage shopping campaign, you're losing a lot of control on the targeting, on the visuals, etc. So we'd like to have control. You name your campaign, which we always say cheaper. Then we say here retargeting. So first of all, conversions, right? Or sales, and then retargeting. Boom, we remove the catalog. We do campaign budget. And for the budget, most of the times with the retargeting campaign, you take a lower budget because you're putting most amount of budget inside of the creative testing. So the daily budget for this one can be around like $20 to $10 or something. As you can see, engage audiences, existing customers. We click on next. Then again, this one is 00 main. And then we do retargeting. As you can see, we do website because we only want people to go to the website, not to any apps or purchases on the platform. Certainly not if you're Apple, because they take 20% off. We scroll down, take maximize number of conversions. Then the Shopify pixel, your purchase event, because you will always be optimizing for purchase event, because that is the last step that people need to complete. So Facebook will find people who are more likely to buy or convert, basically. Then launching the next day, you will always launch on the next day, because then it's a fresh day, fresh algorithm, basically. And then the daily budget starts to be spending from that day forward. Then here we click on switch to original audience, because we have a lot of more control just basically over the targeting options. Then we'll do locations. In this case, it is the United States. No, United States. And then Canada as well. Here we do add to cart in the last 7 days. So they're super fresh, or you can do in the last 30 days. For this case, we'll do last 30 days because it's the broadest, and then we'll exclude people, which is basically your purchases. So the purchase in the last 180 days, why 180 days? Because it's large enough of a spend or of a time spent, right? So in this case, we take the purchase from the last 180 days because it's a large enough time frame, basically. But if you're selling subscriptions, you can do 28 days or 30 days, depending on how fast people basically need your new product, right? So you can also play with those angles, but so in this case, we'll take 180 days. Toggle this off because otherwise it's not a retargeting campaign. As you can see, it is super narrow, but it's perfect. Advantage plus placements, and then we'll just take that one, which is being imported basically because they're proven to be a winner, right? As you can see here, we will rename it to 0011, and then you basically plug in your product page URL. You always use your product page URL because you're driving traffic to the product that people saw. It depends if you're selling clothes and have a large established brand, then you do catalogs because people will always browse through the catalogs. For this case, it's just a product page. They land straight up onto the product page where they can immediately buy, right? Here as well, always remove these things because we don't like the text generations, right? none of the text. And here on the Advantage Plus, we always toggle these things off, which we save. And then your UTM parameters, super important as well. And then you just click on publish. And now if you're wondering, what about catalog ads? If your product catalog performs well, you can build a third campaign for dynamic product ads, but just start off with these two. Let your results dictate where you need to expand. Or what if you have multiple countries? We always start with your main market. So most of the times it is the US. You test your creatives there, and once you have winners, you duplicate them into localized campaigns or retargeting campaigns for your secondary market. But don't just test everywhere at once. What we usually do is that we segment them into the continents. So for the US, it's US, Canada. For Europe, it's all the European countries, and then Australia and New Zealand. And then once we see that one country is doing better result-wise, we separate them from the campaigns, make a new campaign for that country only, and remove them from the main CBO campaign. And so that is exactly how you need to build these two campaigns, the only two campaigns that you need to have to scale: your creative testing campaign and your retargeting campaign, both CBO. And that is the structure that is working for all of our clients. And that is what I would recommend any brand to look at if you want to scale smart in 2025. And if you found this helpful, drop a comment and subscribe, and let me know what part of your setup is still missing, or if you want to follow a video breaking down the ad budgets, creative strategies inside of each campaign. And of course, if you're looking to work with us directly and scale your brand to 6 or 7 figures a month, there's a link in the description, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.